I was 7 years old when I learned that crying was a weakness. Not because anyone sat me down and told me that. No one ever said those words out loud. But I learned it the way most smart children learn things. By watching, by analyzing, by connecting the dots before anyone expected me to. My mother would say, "You're so mature for your age." My teachers would smile and say, "She understands things other kids don't." And I believed them. I thought being mature meant not needing things. I thought being smart meant having all the answers, including how to bury a feeling so deep inside yourself that even you forget it's there. I remember one afternoon, I must have been around 8 or 9. I came home from school, and I was devastated. A girl I considered my best friend had laughed at me in front of the whole class. I don't even remember what she said, but I remember the feeling. That hot, burning shame. That sting behind my eyes. I walked into the kitchen. My mother was cooking. She was busy.
She was always busy.
I stood there for a moment. I genuinely wanted to cry. I wanted to say, "Mama, something happened and it really hurt." But before I could even open my mouth, she looked at me and said, "Oh, good, you're home. Can you help me set the table? And please don't make a mess. I've had a very long day." And just like that, the moment was gone. I set the table. I helped. I smiled at dinner. I was fine. That night, lying in bed, I told myself, "You're smart. You don't need to bother people with small things. Handle it yourself." And I did. I handled it myself. Again and again and again. Every time. I was the kind of child who read books instead of playing with other kids. Who would rather sit in the corner of a room observing people than be in the middle of everything. Who asked why constantly. Why does this happen? Why do people act this way? Why does the world work like this? And because I was curious, because I was perceptive, people rewarded my mind. My intelligence got praised. My curiosity got encouraged. But my emotions? My emotions were never part of the equation. No one ever asked me, "How are you feeling about that?" No one ever sat with me in my sadness and said, "It's okay to feel this. Tell me more." What they said was, "You're so smart, you'll figure it out." What they meant was, "We trust you to handle yourself." What I heard was, "Your feelings are your problem. Don't bring them to us." By the time I was a teenager, I had become very, very good at one thing, appearing okay. I could walk into any room and read every person in it within minutes. I knew when someone was upset before they said a word. I knew how to say exactly the right thing to make people feel comfortable. I was empathetic, thoughtful, emotionally intelligent for everyone else. But for myself, I had nothing. I didn't know what I was feeling most of the time. And on the rare occasion, I did feel something intensely, grief, loneliness, fear. I had no language for it. No tools. No practice. Because smart children don't practice feeling. They practice thinking. They learn to intellectualize everything. To analyze an emotion instead of experiencing it. To say, "I understand why I feel this way," as a substitute for actually letting themselves feel it. I used to think that was strength. I now know that was armor. I remember the first time a boy I loved told me I was cold. We had been together for almost a year. He was kind, patient, genuinely caring. And one evening, after I had dismissed something he said with a logical counterargument, something about feelings, I think, something about needing to feel closer to me, he looked at me with this expression I will never forget. He said, "Sometimes I feel like I'm talking to a wall. Like you're always watching from behind glass. Present, but not really here." I remember feeling something crack inside me. And then immediately I analyzed it. I thought, he's probably projecting. He's probably had attachment issues from before this relationship. This is more about his emotional needs than about me. I intellectualized my way out of a moment that was trying to reach me. We broke up 6 months later. And I cried. But only alone. Only in the shower, where no one could see. It took me years, to understand what had actually happened to me as a child. Not because my childhood was traumatic in the dramatic sense. There was no big event. There was no villain. There was just a quiet, consistent message. You are valuable for your mind. You are capable. You are responsible. You are mature. And underneath all of that, without anyone meaning to say it, you do not need to be held. Smart children often grow up in homes where they are trusted more than they should be. They are given adult responsibilities early. They are praised for being independent. They become the easy child, the one who doesn't cause problems, who figures things out, who doesn't need much. And because they are so good at appearing fine, everyone believes them. Even they believe themselves. The research, and yes, I still retreat to research even now, actually confirms this pattern. Psychologists call it emotional parentification or role reversal in some cases. In others, it's simply an environment where intellect is rewarded and emotion is either ignored or subtly punished. When a child is consistently praised for thinking and never validated for feeling, they learn that feelings are not the path to connection or approval. Thinking is. So they become extraordinary thinkers. And they build walls so high and so invisible that even the people who love them can't find a door. I was 26 when I first went to therapy. I went because I was exhausted. Not from work, not from life, but from the constant effort of managing myself, of performing normalcy, of translating every feeling into a thought, so I didn't have to sit with it. My therapist was a small, quiet woman. She had a way of looking at you that made you feel like she had all the time in the world. In our third session, she asked me a simple question. She said, "When was the last time someone took care of you? Not supported you logistically, not admired you, but actually took care of you emotionally?" I opened my mouth to answer, and I couldn't. I sat there for what felt like a very long time. And then, for the first time in years, probably the first time since that afternoon in the kitchen when I was 9 years old, I cried. Not in the shower. Not alone. In front of someone. And she didn't try to fix it. She didn't say, "You'll be okay, you're so strong." She just sat with me. And something in me, something very old and very tired, finally exhaled. Here is what I know now, after years of slowly, painfully unlearning. Being smart does not mean you don't need people. Being capable does not mean you are not allowed to fall apart. Being this strong one is not a personality, it is a coping mechanism. And the distance you feel, that glass wall between you and everyone else, that sense of watching life from slightly outside of it, that is not who you are. That is what happened to you. The little girl who set the table instead of crying deserved to cry. She deserved someone to notice. She deserved to be told that her sadness mattered just as much as her intelligence. If you are watching this and you recognize yourself in any of this, the overanalysis, the walls, the inability to ask for help, the strange loneliness you carry even in rooms full of people who love you, I want you to know something. This is not a flaw. This is not a life sentence. It is a pattern, and patterns can be rewritten. But it starts with one terrifying, necessary thing: letting yourself be seen. Not your achievements. Not your competence. Not the version of you that has everything figured out. The version of you that is scared, that is lonely, that still, somewhere underneath all that brilliance, just wants someone to sit with them when things hurt. That version deserves love the most. I am still learning. Some days, I still catch myself building walls mid-conversation. Still retreating into analysis when something gets too close. Still saying, "I'm fine," before I've even checked in with myself to know if I am. But I am getting better at noticing. And noticing, truly, honestly noticing yourself, is where everything begins. Thank you for listening to my story. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment below. I read every single one. And if you've had a similar experience, please know, you are not alone, and you never were. Take care of yourself. You deserve it more than you know.